I believe that all changed this weekend. So, oh my goodness. All right. So, all right.
Where do we start? First off,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Where do we start? So, I guess first off, we'll just say Blaney wins pole, Gibbs wins stage 1, 2, Hamlin wins the race. All right, that's out of the way. Now let's talk about it, right? So, to be fair, ever since the Atlanta race, you guys all, if you've been hanging around this channel, you know my and Tom's opinion. But I've really been turned off with NASCAR recently. I watched a terrible Atlanta race and was told by everybody and their mom and their grandma's cousin under the sun that this was the greatest NASCAR race of all time. When I
Don't forget the Neff sons.
Yeah, the Neff sons. When we were in the minority, because we told you guys how terrible it was, everybody just saw that 3-wide finish and they overreacted and thought it was the greatest thing they ever saw race-wise. But there's a difference between a good race and a good finish, and people don't realize that.
This is Jay from the Dega Boys, reminding you to like this video if you're enjoying it so far. Make sure to hit the subscribe button to see more great content like this. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay notified of all future uploads on this channel. Thanks for watching. Now back to the video.
So I watched the Vegas race, and then I see the fan reception of Vegas, which I personally thought the Vegas race was really good. I mean, from start to finish, we saw, yes, if you take Larson out of the equation being so far ahead, if you looked at the battle from 2nd to 8th, freaking fantastic all day long. In my opinion, I love that race. So after I saw the reception of Vegas, I was like, I don't, what am I going to do? NASCAR's going in this trend. We've talked about it, and it's going to be unwatchable in the future. So I didn't watch the first 2 stages of this race. I was boycotting it. I really was. Tom texted me, my dad texted me, and they both of their responses were, "Holy cow, the tire wear, this is nuts." And I'm like, all right, if my dad and Tom are telling me this, and these are 2 very credible people that understand racing, are telling me this, I'm tuning in. So I tuned in, and holy cow, Tom, I was watching this with the NSR boys in the chat, and I'm watching this race play out, and you're seeing these guys like not wanting to lead a lap, like they're just playing cat and mouse to the lead because nobody knew how to save tires anymore. Tire saving's been gone for the last 10 years in NASCAR because no horsepower. We got a tire that's, as Tom would say, tougher, or harder than the stones that Jesus walked on. So we don't have any tire wear anymore. So none of these new guys know how to save tires. So everybody's playing follow the leader, swapping positions, trying to, and I'm sitting here laughing. I don't think I've ever sat and watched a NASCAR race where I was hysterically laughing. I fell out of this chair. I was leaning. I started laughing. I fall over the chair. I hit the ground, dying, laughing, rolling over. Because you got guys blowing tires, like the tires. Holy cow, dude, those things are like shredded in half. Like, holy cow, man. What an absolute banger of a race. And then I missed the first half of the race. So I was like, you know what? I got to go back and rewatch it from the beginning. So I went back and rewatched from the beginning. And I wish I'd have watched stage 2. Stage 2, greatest stage in all of NASCAR stage racing history. I mean, holy, it looked like Daytona, dude. Everybody's just running side by side, running like 3 seconds off the pace because everybody's scared to go lead because the tires. And then Goodyear's like trying to mount new tires or rolling them out of the shop. Oh my god,
that's the greatest part right there. Everybody's blowing tires, trying to stay out on track, and here's Goodyear in the middle of the track, just absolutely in a frenzy, trying to mount more tires. You can see the higher ups there just absolutely code brown in their pants, and they're just trying to mitigate the damage that's on track right now. It was a beautiful symphony of agony for Goodyear. That was just, I mean, it was beautiful. It was like Beethoven came back to earth and was just like sitting there with all of this chaos happening and orchestrating it with his fucking piano or something. It was amazing. It was awesome. It was awesome. Jay, I want to take credit for one thing here. All right. I've actually been saying this for a hot minute.
It's podcast 3, actually.
Yeah.
I went back and watched it.
So, what's one of the things that we've always talked about? Horsepower. to these cars would make a substantial difference. If we can't do horsepower, what do? We give them a tire that laps 30, 40, 50 laps. Goodyear tells them, hey, this is all we're recommending it for. Everything after that, it's on you guys. And then let them race it. Let them do the tire strategy, the tire conservation, and all of this crazy stuff. We got to see it, and it was an absolute freaking banger, dude. It was the greatest race. It was the greatest race since COT cars, the first year of Gen 6. It was absolutely beautiful. Everything about that race was what the racing gods have envisioned for many years to come. And the drivers actually had to show up on a Sunday and work. They had to work. They had to work. The crew chiefs had to work. The pit crews, they actually had to work. It's everything we want. We want to see these drivers out on track, cussing out of their minds, just absolutely throwing the middle finger out the window, all this, all the great racing action on track. We want to see the crew chiefs sitting there scratching their heads. Ooh, what do we do, guys? With all of their six-figure buddies right next to them. And then the pit crews. The pit crews, right? We want to see tires blowing. Not necessarily, I shouldn't say that. We want to see tires cording. We want to see people reacting, not being proactive, although proactive is good in a sense of in a sense of business, but being reactive to what is happening on track it's so much entertainment that we could have. Everything about that race is what racing is and should be about. Just sit here and imagine with me, just for a second, we didn't have those stage cautions. 11 sets of tires wouldn't have made it. It would have been impossible. And it would have been amazing. Imagine if we were sitting at 60, 70, 80 laps to go, and they're just putting on the last set of tires. Could you imagine?
Right.
Every single one of those guys out on the field would be crossing the start-finish line with steel wheels because all the cords would be showing. That would be awesome. Because what you would see is guys running 5-second slower lap times to conserve the tire. But then you'd also see the guys who are maybe 1, 2, 3 laps down trying to get their lap back the old-fashioned way.
Yeah.
That is controlled chaos in an amazing setting like Bristol Motor Speedway, where all you see is action at every single point on the track. That right there is what we're asking for. And I don't think that's a hard ask. Now, we just talked about tire degradation, right? You don't even have to take it that far. You don't. Although it was freaking phenomenal, you don't have to take it that far. All right? You know how wide these cup tires are? Insane.
Freaking Titanic, man.
They're wider than freaking, I don't even know. They're insanely wide. Take them down to the width of the Xfinity Series tires. Make them lose mechanical grip. Make them lose it. Gone. You don't even need horsepower now because you're struggling for grip on track. That's all we want is struggle for grip. You can put as much mechanical grip as you want in there. It's not going to make a difference. That's what we want. Right? That promotes passing. That promotes strategy. That promotes a driver actually having to work. That is what we want. There is nothing more. Take the width of the tire down. Go back to a 5-stud lug nut configuration. Or you keep the same width. You keep them harder than the stones that Jesus walked on, and you give them 750 horsepower. That's not a bad compromise, in my opinion. Because, and I promise you, no matter what route you take, you're going to get races like Bristol, and it's not going to be what some fans would consider a safety issue.
Yeah. I think this is the greatest race of all time. I was trying to go back in my brain and figure out like what were the greatest races of all time. And like I was like, oh, maybe like 2007 Martinsville when Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon were on beat to hell tires at Martinsville battling door to door for the win. Oh, maybe it was 2011 Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon slipping around on old beat to hell tires at Atlanta, for the win. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe that this is what makes good racing. If I'm thinking of the best races and it's all the same scenario, I was going to come on here and moan about the stages, moan about the broadcast. They all suck, whatever, it sucks. But honestly, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I think this was a 100%, 10 out of 10 greatest race I've ever seen in my life. I watched this race once through with the broadcast, didn't like it. I muted it, watched it back, and I liked it even better. So you don't even need to listen to Boyer, Harvick, and McJoy do whatever they're doing. Just mute the race, put on some music, and just watch it naturally happen. Greatest race I've ever seen. Unbelievable. I've never sat here and just laughed and enjoyed a race so much. It was so great. And like Tom said, Tom's been saying this forever. I don't think we need more horsepower. I think this works. If we give them a tire that NASCAR guarantees is going to last 40 laps. Give them 14 cents. I don't care. Give them 15 cents. Give them 35 cents. I don't give a damn. Make it where they only last 40 laps and make it where if you want to go past 40 laps, you're taking a risk. That's your risk. That's your prerogative. We guarantee 40 laps. These will make it. I love it. I loved it. My biggest gripe though, and here we go. We got to get into it, Tom. It's a natural trend here on the Dega Boys. But here we go. NASCAR fans, for the most part, thought it was good. But then you got those damn Atlanta fans. And I'm going to call them Atlanta fans. I am going to call them Atlanta fans because they are Atlanta fans. These aren't racing fans. These aren't NASCAR fans. These are some Budweiser drinking redneck Alabama freaking Atlanta fans. That's what they are. They don't like racing. They just want to stay. They're not even Atlanta fans. You know what they are? They are Demolition Derby fans. If you want to go see a Demolition Derby, go to your damn county fair and watch a damn Demolition Derby. Go. Every short track has at least one night of destruction at least sometime during the year. Go watch that. I don't want to watch that. I enjoy it. It's got a place in the marketplace, but not on my TV on NASCAR Sunday. Hell no. Get that out of here. Get out of here with that bullcrap. So, if you didn't like that race, my advice to you is go into your basement, lock the doors, turn the lights off, put the Atlanta race on repeat loop, and just sit there for the next 10 years of your life because you don't like racing if you didn't like this race. That's all I'm going to say. And then the other thing is their big excuse is the drivers don't like it. The drivers didn't like it. I don't give a damn if the drivers love it or hate it. They're getting paid millions of dollars to entertain us. If they don't like doing that, if they don't like being a race car driver, go find a new job. Go work at McDonald's. There's 100,000 other people in this country that would love to jump in there and have your ride and probably can do a better job than you because you're whining and moaning. Blaney, get out of here with this. Larson, get out of here with this. Nemechek, get out of here with this because we had Keselowski, Hamlin, Gregson, I don't know. Why am I ranting? I had a great time. I love this race. I'm just saying. We had some drivers who enjoyed this race, and then you have other people that complained and moaned and whined. I don't know. You got to work, right? We made these drivers work. They had to work today. Sorry that you forgot how to save tires. That's your own prerogative. Learn how to save tires and enjoy it because that was great racing. And if the NASCAR drivers don't like it and they want a harder tire again, well, that's the problem with racing right there. That's why NASCAR can't progress. If they're listening to the Atlanta fans, or I guess the Demolition Derby fans, and they're listening to the drivers that just want to complain when you finally have a good product on track.
Yeah, I want to add just a couple things here. I listened to Dave Moody today, and he all day long, all he was doing was getting call-ins from people about their opinions of Bristol. And don't get me wrong, majority of them was like, wow, I didn't know that we could have racing like this. This is actually, I was on the edge of my seat the whole race. And I'm sitting there like, well, hell yeah, like this is like what we've witnessed before in the past. We've strayed so bad, we don't even know we've strayed. Mm-hmm. Right? But there was one guy that called in, and I'm not gonna say his name or anything because it's burned in my brain right now because of what he just said. But he goes, "Yeah, Dave, been calling here a lot, and I did not like Bristol." And Dave was like, "Well, what do you figure?" And he goes, "Well, the strategy wasn't there. The tire strategy wasn't there. Everybody was just blowing tires. I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, who the hell's going to blow the next tire? Who is he pitting? Are we pitting? Is everybody pitting? We got to put an end to this. Goodyear's got to do better." And he continued. Dave's like, whoa, I gotta stop you there. Did you just say that Bristol wasn't a good strategy race? And he goes, yeah, the tires were terrible. And Dave goes, were you watching the 2024 Bristol fall race or spring race? And he goes, yeah, the one on Sunday. And Dave's like, right then and there, he hung up on him. And he goes, please don't call into my show with stuff like that. He just moved on to the next one. And then another guy called in. And he basically just said everything that we were just talking about, Jay, with the different paths and routes and stuff. And he said, you know what? This race was an eye-opener for me. Like what I just said, we have strayed so far from what the product we saw on Sunday, we don't even know that we've strayed. This is what we need. This is what made NASCAR popular in the 70s and 80s and 90s. That was racing. And Dave's like, yeah, I completely agree. Again, yeah, this is what made NASCAR popular. And I just think, though, that the tire degradation was just a little too much there. And so, if NASCAR could bring a tire that's just a little bit harder, we might see a little bit better racing. And he goes, Dave, I disagree with you.
I do too.
That was the best racing we have seen since the COT days. There was no better racing. This race will go down in history for the next gen car. Mm-hmm. You have Chastain at Martinsville, and now you have Bristol. Those are the two races everybody will remember with the next gen car. And so I just thought it was interesting. I think there's going to be coming a turning point, Jay. I think with the coming weeks, we're going to go back to that same old crap hard tire, and it's going to be boring, follow the leader once again, and everybody's going to look back at this Bristol race and be like, man, we need more of that.
Yeah, amazing race this weekend at Bristol. I love it. I want more of it. Let's bring. I see there. It's like people saying maybe we should bring this to like some other tracks, or maybe we just went way too far. I don't think so. I think whatever they did this weekend, I think they should replicate it and try it at Martinsville. If it fails, it completely fails. We tried something, it just didn't work. Let's try it. Let's not abandon it.
I remember Dave said something. That's what I was going to talk about. Dave said something about he talked to the CEO of Goodyear in the racing division. He already stated that those tires at Bristol will never be brought back to life.
That's crazy.
It's sad.
It's so sad.
Yep.
I don't know. I know a lot of people would disagree with us, Tom, but I believe Richmond is the only good short track we've had in the entire Gen 6 era, and that's because the strategy actually plays out there, even with stages. And if we could bring a tire like this to Richmond, can you imagine them pitting 4 times a stage? Holy cow, dude. It would be the greatest race of all time.
But, Jay, the amount of people I listened to today calling into Dave Moody's show saying how amazing it was, I really think we might be seeing it tied in the coming weeks. I really do. I'm almost a believer. There was only like 3 or 4 callers that disagreed with Bristol.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm very hopeful. I'm actually kind of confident.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're on the right track, man. Like, I haven't felt this confident in what the path NASCAR could go in a long time, and I feel like we finally hit something, man. Like Let's keep this momentum rolling. And to the 13% of you guys that said that was a bad race, I'm just gonna say, stay mad. Stay mad. Just stay mad. Just stay mad, because you guys don't understand racing. You guys are the type of people that are like, oh, F1 is great, but you don't have parity in F1. I don't know. I feel like this is my thought process here too, Tom, is all it's gonna take is somebody getting hurt in Atlanta, seriously hurt, because it's gonna happen, because that's just the product of that track, before we end up saying Atlanta's garbage. That's all it's gonna take. So, you know, and I hate that I have to say that. I do, because that's the only way it's ever gonna get that Atlanta process out of people's minds. Like, it is what it is. But
yeah,
yes. So if I was president of NASCAR, I'd be bulldozing Atlanta tomorrow. Is there anything else you want to talk about the greatest NASCAR race of all time?
Yes, it really showed the character and structure of some drivers in that field. Last week, I'm severely disappointed in some of their comments, and they should be ashamed. Really.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name none. They've already been named. But
I'll name them again. Nemechek, Larson, Blaney. Yeah, the list goes on. But yes, I'll name them. I don't care. These guys are making millions of dollars. Why do they care what my opinion is? I'd say my opinion. They can say their opinion.
It's funny, man. It's just the one day they actually have to go to work. Yeah. And they complain.
Because they didn't get to run qualifying laps the whole race. Yeah. That's why your point with the stage racing was pretty damn good. I was going to complain about that, because I agree with you. Without the stage breaks, this race would have been freaking amazing. Even better than it already was, and it was already a 10 out of 10 banger of a race. But can you imagine without the stage racing, dude, how this race would have played out? We'd have had leaders blowing tires. We'd have had guys, one car on the lead lap, and then next thing you know, like 20 on the lead lap, because like people didn't know how to save tires. It would have been crazy. It'd have been nuts.
What we had 106 lead changes? I think that's what they said.
No, 54 lead changes was
in the first two stages.
No, that was the total. I believe it was. I think it was 54. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways,
but we'd have had 106 for sure.
The most in short track history ever in NASCAR.
Yeah.
Ever. You can't tell me that's not entertaining.